Okay, we're ready. Bringing them in now.
Okay. Waiting for a lot of connections to audio rather.
Yeah, it's pretty slow.
Okay, I think everybody's in, Barry.
Good evening. I'm not sure if everyone's connecting to audio or going to go on video or whatever, but thank you for all being here. We had considered doing this in person, but with playoffs, tryouts, and everything else going on, and some of us short notice on all those issues, we decided we have done it for the most recent past. I don't know if we're going to have a quorum or not. Doesn't sound like we will. We'll see. Tonight is our AGM. Remember that the FYSA AGM is August 5 through 7. And I thank all of you for participating tonight. I'll let Jeff handle most of the information you need to know about what's coming up with the playoffs and everything else coming forward. I would just say this: we've received a lot of feedback regarding the location of the playoffs this weekend. We had last week when we were at Chapel Trails, and we thank West Pines for that. We had the U12s, boys and girls, and that went very well. This weekend, as you know, we'll be in Fort Myers, and we look forward to seeing all of you who will be there. We are going there. People contacted us, mostly critical of where it's going to be. And as you know, for as many years as I can remember, we've always done it over here on this coast, but no one afforded us the opportunity to use their fields. And we're looking forward to their hospitality over there. But if someone had done it here, we would have done it here as a first choice, only because that's what we've done before and where most of our teams are, obviously. So we hope this will inspire those of you who have access and opportunity to offer your fields going forward to do it for next year. And we look forward to another good weekend like we had last weekend. And I'll turn it over to Jeff at this point.
Thanks, Barry. Good to see everybody. I know that there's a bunch of people that are there that we don't see, but that's fine. I have a couple of things I wanted to go through, primarily dealing with the playoffs to make sure that you guys that have teams that are participating to make sure that you have all of your games ready to go. And if you have any questions, we have a good opportunity to ask them tonight. All the games that are currently listed on the website should be set in stone with the exception of one. There is one game that the time may change, and there may be one or two changes to a field number, but the times shouldn't change for any of the semifinals or finals that are coming up this weekend. We did have to move some games around. That was done primarily last weekend, and there may be some fields that are going to run a little bit late, but just try and be available for your current start time. Some of the early games, there may be a game or two on a field where we had to move a 2-hour slot into an 1:45 slot. So those games may get a little bit late. As far as the format, we are going straight to penalty kicks because we don't have any excess field availability. And also because there is, potential for obviously weather and we just don't have that extra time. Please check your rosters. I know that a lot of you have already participated in quarterfinals, but for those teams that only have the semifinals or a final for this weekend, if you have any issues in printing or creating a game roster, let me know. The roster freeze has already passed, so you won't be able to add players to your team registrations. If you're missing somebody and they participated during the year and you want me to see about adding them, please reach out to me. if there's someone that has participated, consider adding that player. If somebody, you messed up and you forgot to import them, it does happen. We won't do it for plucking a Division I player down to a Division II team. That's not really fair. We're not looking for mercenary players to come in and participate for a couple of different reasons. Obviously, it just doesn't help out those people that have been with that team the entire year. After the semifinals on Saturday, it's very important that we get the game rosters back from the referees, get the games updated. And once we do that and move the teams over for the finals, then those game rosters will be available for you to print. We'll have a printer at the fields and we'll be printing out the finals rosters. But since, all the finals games are the next day, if you have the ability to print your roster that next day, and please go ahead and do that. Take it to the field. That would be great. Otherwise, you'll have to check in at our administrative area and pick up a game roster for the finals on Sunday. So if you have any questions about that, then just reach out to me. Some of you may have 22 players in your registration. We're still only allowed to participate with 18 players on your roster. So don't, if you have all those extra players, you're not gonna be able to use only the ones that are the 18 on the roster. We do have medals for both the champions and the finalists. So if your team is fortunate enough to make it into the finals, but didn't have a great result and they ended up finishing second, please make sure that they know that they are to get medals as well and come on over to the administrative area after the game. We'll take care of distributing those to your teams. Are there any questions about playoffs, what you need to know? If there are any questions about creating your rosters or anything else? Excellent. For the most part, where we had quarterfinal games, it certainly, yeah, I see Christine.
Yeah, because she.
Go ahead.
Do you pay any of the referee fees or do we pay all of those? I've completely forgotten. We've got so many.
No, we don't currently pay referee fees. We've talked about potentially doing it for finals.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you did. I know that you haven't for everything else. My question is more for the finals. So
not currently.
Okay,
we don't currently.
Thank you.
Any other playoff questions? For those of you that don't have a video up, you can use the Zoom raising your hand feature, and I'll be happy to answer any questions. The only other thing that I had to talk about tonight is that I'm going to be putting together kind of a survey that will go out to both club reps as well as all the coaches that have participated in the past to get your feedback on the competition levels and how we've done it this year. Now that we're a couple of years into this fall and spring format, how you like that. If you have any feelings one way or the other about going back to it, how we do playoffs, if you want to see changes to that, that'll be your opportunity, as well as the coach's opportunity to give us some feedback on it. And as I always said at the SFUYSA AGMs, we're here to do what we think is best. And when we don't have that input, we can only kind of guess. So it would be great to get your feedback as well as coaches' feedback so that we can make the league even better in the years going forward. So please make sure when those surveys do go out that you fill them out and have your coaches do as well. And then finally, the other thing that I had is that the U9s and U11s are still participating and they can play all their games through May 31st. If for some reason you're not getting the games in, but you still want to play them after May 31st, let me know and I can change those game dates and such to a later date. If not, and I don't hear from you, then any games that are still open for the 9s through the 11s will be removed at the end of the season. So that's kind of on you guys. They were all originally scheduled. So if they've been moved past that date, then they'll be taken out.
Jeff, you got one question from Katya.
Yes, Katya.
Hi, Jeff. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Thank you. I'll send you an email later tonight, but just a heads up. I know you mentioned the rosters freeze is done. You know, we're past that. I did get a call from our U18 girls coach today. that he will be missing he might not have enough players for the semis, to see if an exception could be made for him to use some of our U16 girls. I'll send you an email and you guys can think about it. They're having a difficulty because the kids, at least in Palm Beach County, this is the last week of school for seniors. And some of the players are kind of tuning out. So we're
Yeah, I'm
struggling
sure
with
that,
a
and
bit.
plus probably some proms still
Shocking.
going on too.
Yes, correct.
Yes, no, I'm aware of that, especially at that age group.
Okay.
Certainly send me that information via an email and we can take a look at it. We'll see where the players have participated. And when you send it, please send me the details of the players that are currently on rosters, which ones are not able to attend.
Okay.
And then I'll have a better idea as to, the fairness about doing that with regard to the other teams. But we'd rather have games get played than forfeited, obviously. So we'll certainly take a look at that when you send it in.
Absolutely. That's our goal too. So thank you.
Mm-hmm. Other questions? Excellent. Barry?
Do we have a quorum for elections or no?
We do not.
Okay. Our next meeting would otherwise be what, July 12? Would that be right, or June?
July.
July 12, okay. What issues that you guys and girls, women have seen most recently that we can assist you with, you want to bring to our attention or have us address amongst ourselves at this time? Anything in particular? Okay, nothing's come up. Carlton, anything we should know from FYSA, what's going on there other than playoffs and things like that?
No, I mean the state finals are this weekend. That's kind of the last state competition for for this year. Other than that, I think I talked to Jeff about putting together a little survey because we're planning for the AGM at this point. Kai actually put together a survey, and I didn't want to just have too much redundancy. So if everyone can just find the president's survey, I think it says FYSA President Survey, and respond to that, that'll be very helpful because I want to be able to talk to them about the responses we get relating to our region. It actually provides responses depending on the region you're from, so that they know how you feel about some of the things that they've done, specifically moving the regional AGM to be concurrent with the state. So basically running the state, the regional AGM at the state, maybe a Saturday afternoon session or something like that. That's what was voted on. And they want to get some feedback. I thought that was important. And so he included that in his survey. So if everyone could actually respond to that, that would be helpful. Mm-hmm.
Was that something that the board?
They voted on that early on.
Considered, or what they do?
They vote. Well, they presented it as a cost savings measure because basically the office is moving to each region for these AGMs. And early on in the year, they voted to have the region AGMs at the state, basically on a Saturday afternoon, I guess. Even that wasn't really fleshed out, in my opinion, but that's what they opted to agree to do.
Why do we have 10 people from the office come to every AGM? We've never had that.
I can't speak to why and I don't know how it had been done all along, but I know like last year they had quite a few people come down, and I don't know. I mean, that's a whole nother discussion. I thought that, they could always do their part of it virtual as well. I know at ours last year, we had a couple of our officers virtually, elected, as a matter of fact, because they were out of town. So we have the technology, but that was what, the board, I wasn't in favor of it, but, I was just one vote. But I think most of the board agreed to go with that.
Do they discuss at all the fact that
I see you, Tom.
it's likely that more people, Carlton, did they discuss at all the fact that it's very likely that more people would attend a local AGM for their region that wouldn't otherwise attend the FYSA AGM in August? In other words, because my concern is it's easy, it's convenient, for lack of a better term, to attend your local AGM rather than have a 3-night minimum required stay in Orlando in August, as opposed to a Sunday afternoon or Saturday afternoon or morning, whatever, locally, sometime before that. And I don't see why the idea of bringing everyone there. For example, if someone is an elected position locally and they are no longer elected, or they're voluntarily not going to run again, why would they have to go there to do that? It just doesn't make any sense. I don't see the financial basis for it. I mean, whatever, as Joe said, I don't think you need 10 people to come to our local AGM. On the other hand, they can attend by Zoom.
I think the thinking there.
It's very difficult, but
I was going to say, I think the thought there is that if you have everything consolidated in one area, you can address things closer to real time, so that you have more local voices present at the state AGM, because I guess the numbers have, especially with COVID, have been reduced, and they're trying to get more people participating so that more local members' voices are being heard at the AGM. I think that's one of the reasons. And again, they mentioned that, the whole office, whether it be, Strickler and Joel and the staff that travels to each region, I guess, the expense for housing and room and board and travel for all those, it adds up. And I guess they thought that that could be a cost saving measure.
Tom, did you have an input on that?
Oh, absolutely. I have input on this. So first of all, Carlton, thank you for trying to fight this in the last, or at least discuss this in the last meeting. Mm-hmm. I don't know where you really stand on it, but to be honest with you, I couldn't argue a point I don't believe in. So I don't know where you really are on this. And Aaron, you tried, you attempted, but I feel free to have me on the meeting so I can argue what I actually said why this was brought up in the first place. The board never voted on this. I requested the minutes. There was no vote by the SFUYSA BOD that this should be done. They just decided the vote is not required. We can make any decision we want. So that's the first thing. Second thing is, as you know, neither you or Olaf or nobody from Region A was present. Let's just assume the Region D has one club and 17 players paying in $20 a pop. They can save their money. They don't need to come out. We are one of the largest regions, put in the most money, and we are the furthest away from it. And just like Barry said, last year, this is not against you, you prohibited me from bringing the people I wanted to bring because there was no room in a room. We were sitting on top of each other's lap. That's how many people are interested in going to this local meeting. It was, I think, 8 hours long. So we had a lot to discuss. And to say we can somehow do this on a Saturday, we already know that Saturday is so crowded in Orlando that we can't even do our roundtable for Region A because you guys are rushing to have your dinner. And so I brought all these arguments out, and I know you tried to argue some of them in a meeting. And if you believe what I think you believe, then we need to go back and say, you know what? We still want to have it locally, because I think that's what Kai is trying to do in his survey.
Right. So here's what I need. Yeah. So here's what but hold on a minute, Tom. What I need is for our region to respond honestly and as quickly as possible, so that I can have fuel for my position. I mean, where do I stand?
Are you interested in booking the hotel? Because I do understand it's more work for you. You're already volunteering. So it's very easy, and I'm not blaming you for not doing the work. It's very easy to say, well, I don't know which way we're gonna go. No, we want the meeting.
I volunteered to do what my local regional membership wants me to do. Okay. But I have to go what everybody wants to do. So for me to say that I'm gonna, go,
it's not gonna be everybody. It's never going to be everybody.
What?
The president of the largest league in a region.
Tom, I understand that, but I'm just saying it can't be just one person, though. You understand what I'm saying? I need to know that we all in this region that are participating, those that participate, I need to hear their voices. I can't listen to one voice and only act on that one voice. You follow? And that's why I thought it was important to include that question in the survey. And so it's there, but if everybody responds, if they're engaged, and that's what they say, then I have some fuel to go and say, this is what we want to do. How do we make it happen? And then the next thing would be, who can help me make it happen? You follow? But if most people saying, hey, we were going to go to AGM anyway, it's just one thing, then we'll know. But I need to know where we all stand as a region on this. And again, not everyone, but those of us that are engaged. Does that make sense?
So,
Well,
so what you're saying, the very last
I-
question on this, that says last year, the board of directors voted, which they didn't, to take the place during the statewide. And by the way, in the last meeting, you guys discussed that you don't agree on it and you're going to come back and discuss it again, correct? So nothing has really, even the board, even supposedly the regions that agreed to cancel it and not have it, like Mike Stroka and everybody was like, well, you know what, maybe we should have it. Maybe we made some premature decisions. So there's chance to reduce.
Tom, let me respond. Tom, let me respond real quickly to what you're saying. I don't really care about all that stuff. I want to know what you guys want me to do. And when I say you guys, again, those that are engaged, and that's what I'm going to push for. I'm not going to push for it because that's what Region B or C wants to do. If Region A is saying, hey, RVP, this is what we want to do, I'm going to try to make it happen. Let me
ask a question. And it seems to me that, well, unless I'm missing it, what is the advantage for Region A to not do what they do locally and then have the presence? We've had a very good presence, and we always collect, 90% or so of our votes, either through proxy or otherwise up there. I think what you'd find is that there'd be more proxies of people who would otherwise attend their local Region A meeting, who wouldn't prefer to go to Orlando and spend all that money and do all that. So my thinking is, what is the benefit for Region? Is there a benefit anyone sees? And this is not directed at anyone in particular, but is there a benefit anyone sees from Region A as to why that's best for this region to do what is suggested, is to hold the Region A AGM sometime during a very crowded weekend at their FYSA AGM? Because I'm open to it, but I don't like it, but I don't see the counter argument. I haven't heard one of that. Let's put it that way.
Am I allowed to say one more thing?
Sure.
Okay. So Joe, you remember when you were the VP? We had the money within the region that we made through running Commissioner's Cup locally, right? For our region.
Correct.
We spend the money on renting the fields from the clubs, which for some of us was a fundraiser. That's been gone for years now. We haven't gotten any of that. Everything was self-scheduling. We paid referee assigners. That's gone. Now the clubs are absorbing that. So basically, I'm from former Yugoslavia. We did all the tourism in Croatia and shipped all the money to Belgrade, and then they decided what to do with it. I'm sick and tired of freaking communism. Okay. It's our money. Stay in Region A. We'll use it however we want.
The problem is, and you got to go back to history. Yes, Tom, you're right in a lot of senses. We've had 80 or 90 participants a year in our Region A meetings. Carlton did a good job last year. We had so many people, we just didn't have a big enough room. That's fine. That was already noted and taken care of. So problem identified, that won't happen again. It was 6 or 7 years ago, no, 5 years ago, when the office started to declare that they were coming to every single one. That's not necessary. Carlton and his staff can handle Region A. You don't need the president, the vice president, the director. We bring Alice down. We bring Rosemary down. We bring Michelle down. We brought Eric down. I don't know if that's necessary. We're supposed to be discussing what Barry says is Region A material and what we think is best for our region. Carlton, I think that's what you're trying to say is we need it. Now, they took everything away from the budget about 6 years ago, and that was Eric that did that. He separated the budget where Carlton doesn't have a budget. He's got to put in for something. It's kind of like collective begging and turning the bills. It's wrong, and things have been moving around. But if we don't come together as a region and support Carlton and the other 4 staff members as a region, then we're really, really going to look bad in the state, because the state, with the 6 different entities in the state right now, it's very, very, very difficult. Carlton, correct me if I'm wrong.
No, you're absolutely right. there's a lot of political power play, but it's irrespective of all that, guys. If we're saying that that's what we want to try to do, then I can have a conversation and saying, hey, I've confirmed that this is what my region wants to do, but I will need your support. I will need you guys to send me letters, respond to the survey, and be actively petitioning for us to have a local AGM. I mean, I don't have a problem with that. I know that it's work, but I already told you guys, I'm not scared of work. But I don't want to do the work and find that nobody's interested in participating.
So
we
let me-
are. I
let
mean,
me
we
ask-
were there.
It
We
is,
were there.
this is
Well, last year,
situation
I know everybody
where-
was there. When last year we had a reason everybody wanted to be there, which was because of the whole God sport, debacle. I use that word loosely, but we don't have the same degree that as a motivation for everybody coming. So now we need to say, okay, we want to do it. Then what do we want to do when we're there? What do we have to cover? What are the important topics that we want to cover? I just want to have a meeting just to say we're having a meeting.
The
Yeah,
biggest thing I think
am
we
I
need
wrong?
to cover is you got 6 entities now.
Let me ask a question. Let me just ask a question. Am I wrong in thinking that it sounds like that the FYSA is trying to save their travel costs and inconvenience for those people who are paid to be employees of FYSA from having to go places, as opposed to all of us who are generally volunteers having to spend more money to be where they want us to be? Am I missing the point, or is the point?
That's part of the problem. I mean, that point is not, it's not wrong,
Yeah, but Barry, but to your point, all of us in this room, what is that, 16 of us? We all gonna be there no matter what, except maybe Christine, unless she drives down. So we all gonna be there no matter what. It's all these little clubs who cannot afford, who really cannot afford,
Right.
or don't even know. Maybe they just got elected on
Well-
their little club board 5 minutes ago, and they don't. I mean, maybe a local region AGM is gonna excite them to actually go to Orlando. Gregory, that's a really ugly picture of you. But anyway,
Yeah, well, I don't know what that is.
That's not Gregory, but that's okay.
Well, we all know who it is, but why did it come up like that? That's scary.
It's like a before
I
and
think he's
after.
pooping Gregory.
It's the before and after picture.
Hey, guys, if we can, like you said, Tom, if we can get the little clubs to communicate, send an email, say something that would help. If I can show evidence that this is what we want to do, guys, and then I have some, as I said, fuel for my discussion. But for me just to say hypothetically that's what's going to happen, and they don't show up, those little clubs you're talking about don't show up at our regional AGM, then
if you're waiting for
They're gonna be
Ty
engaged.
to give you results of his survey, it's going to be too late. So if you want to send another survey with one question, go ahead and do it. I mean, 7 questions on this stupid survey the president that I'm so sorry I voted for sent me now doesn't really inspire.
Right, but as far as I'm concerned,
How do you really feel, Tom?
respond quickly.
I'm sorry, it's
I'm
my
not going to
fault.
say anything.
my
Respond
fault.
quickly to the one that he has. Get
It's
everybody,
my fault. At
get
least I
everybody,
admitted when it's my fault.
to respond to this survey. It's already out. Respond to it. I can say, hey, my region has responded to that. Let me know what they're saying, because I'm telling you what they're feeling. That's all I'm asking.
lying
If
to
you
you.
think, if you think Region A doesn't want it, don't you think both people in Region D don't want it either?
Yeah, we have to remember that our meeting has 80 or 90, and when I was VP, Region D had 6.
Yeah. They don't
So
need
Yeah.
one.
6.
And if region B wants to have it in virtually, that's fine. And by the way, if this state staff wants to attend virtually, they can be on Zoom. We'll put them on a big screen
Exactly.
and they can tell us how to push the billing button. Love you, Michelle. It's nothing against you,
Agreed.
but you don't
Agreed.
have to drive down.
Yeah, I got you. I'm not in
How much
disagreement with any of
fuel,
that.
how much do they spend in fuel costs for the FYSA plane to fly these people around, by the way?
that I don't know.
Oh, okay.
And half the people are
That's about
coming
my
down.
pay grade.
Half the people are coming down.
Some
to
questions
do
are
the
better
speech
left
for the
unasked
election.
or answered. Okay, other than that, issues or anything else we need to address this evening?
So what are we doing
have a
about
question.
our AGM?
I have a question. I have a question for Jeff, real quick.
Sure.
Jeff, I really don't know, because I'm not really involved in the hearings that you have for your violations.
Mhm.
Have you had an increase in unusual type activity? I've had a couple of hearings with some unusual type situations where people have just seemingly lost their mind, with kids behaving what I consider to be excessively violent on the field and things like that. Are you
Actually,
finding an uptick?
Carlton, to
Tell
be
me.
quite honest and knock on wood, this has been one of the better years that we've had in terms of violence. The red
Okay.
card, I believe, I haven't looked at the total counts. There's actually, the ability to do that, and I'll look at them, but my gut tells me that we're actually doing better. We've had a lot better in terms of parent behavior from years past, which is shocking. I know. Maybe some of that
Would you
is,
attribute that to the
I think it's
parents?
coming
Less
back from
parents attending?
COVID.
Yes.
I think a lot of it is coming back and being outside with COVID, kind of on the downside, I think has
I
helped
can
quite a
comment to
bit.
this.
But
Mike?
So to comment to this, with our league, it's being that we've been the strictest, a lot of the teams, they just are playing in a different league or whatever, because most of your hearings, Carlton, have all been with teams that used to be in this league and are playing in a different league, and you had to hold hearings on them because, correct me if I'm wrong, 2/3 of your hearings have all been stuff that I've had to step back from because of me being involved.
Right.
But it's all the same. Nothing's changed. We've been really lucky in South Florida United that we haven't had any major issues, but it seems like those kind of teams, or the teams that we've had some of those issues with, have just changed to a different league.
Gotcha.
makes sense.
Okay.
But plus you have half the teams you used to have, but that's another story.
I don't know
Anybody
what the
else?
numbers are. Anything else we can help anybody with tonight?
Appreciate it. Look forward to seeing some of
we
you,
have,
hopefully.
We
This-
will see everybody in July. Well, hopefully a lot of people this weekend, but July 12th will be our next meeting. If we have a quorum, we'll have elections then. Obviously, the AGM in Orlando is the 5th to the 7th. For those of you that'll be there, you're welcome to join us for hospitality dinner, whatever we'll be doing, depending on what they let us do this year compared to last year and the year before. And if there's anything we can do in the meantime, make sure you get a hold of us, because that's what we're here for.
Thanks for coming, guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much, everybody.